Hello, Loco Joe. The question is it possible to improve your level of English? And the answer is yes, definitely yes. Of course, you need to work, you need to devote time, and you need to be willing to do it. The question that I get from my students is, teacher, what can I do to improve my level of English? They get frustrated, they feel bad, and most of all, they feel that they cannot make any progress when learning English. And I always tell them that it's a matter of practice, and even though it's a long process, sooner or later they will see the results of their hard work. And by hard work, I don't mean that you have to spend hours and hours studying, revising, practicing, etc. What I mean is that you have to do it often in order to get good results. When I started studying English, I was really bad. As I said, I learned English in a natural way, and my dad had to do with that. I didn't learn any rules or any grammatical structures. I just learned to speak. And later, when my mom decided that I had to study English, this was when I was very little, because every year I had to do something, either swimming classes or karate or whatever. So my first contact with English was horrible. I didn't understand anything. I couldn't understand grammar rules, and I think that had to do with the teachers I had and with my experience with English, because before English was so easy for me, but then when I started studying, it was a mess and I wanted to quit. And it was years later when I entered this fabulous school, amazing school, that things were different, but it was because I had different kind of teachers and they were amazing, and I was very interested in what I was doing. So I think that perhaps the easiest way to learn English is that you feel interested in that. When you are not interested in something that you are studying, you won't learn, and that is something that is proven. Also, the teacher has a lot to do with it. If you have an enthusiastic teacher, a teacher who is committed to teach you something, then you will feel better, and maybe little by little you will start getting interested in the class and learning and everything. So I had to improve my level of English, as I said before, if I wanted to become a teacher. And it was not easy, but it was not difficult either. I did it on my own, and I followed some recommendations that I got from my former teachers and friends, and I have to say that it was easier than I had thought. So today I'm going to share with you some of these recommendations, and also some of the things that I have told my students and that I've seen they work. I've seen these recommendations really work if you do it. It's not magic. It's not that just because you do one or two things, then it means that you will learn and speak English beautifully automatically. It requires work, but it's not that difficult. And I'm going to tell you some of these recommendations. Well, the first thing that you need to do when you want to improve your level of English is first to identify why it is that you want to improve. If it's because you need to be bilingual because you're moving to another country or any other communication aspects, or if it's because you need to take a certification exam. And of course, when you take a certification, then it means that you need to study deeper, and that you need to you focus on some specific areas or requirements. And when you need to be bilingual, well, you just practice English in a more natural way. However, You need to work and you need to practice. Well, one of the first areas that I think is difficult and confusing is the grammar and the vocabulary part. As there are like many different structures and rules, then you need to start practicing like in written form, so that your brain like gets all this information in a better way, and that you start like remembering the rules and the steps and the elements and the things that you need to use when forming a grammatical structure. There are several websites that you can use in order to improve the different areas of English. I'm gonna like show them right here, so that you enter these websites and you can check them, and maybe you can start practicing. There are many others, but these websites that I'm showing you are the ones that I like, that I've used with my students, and also that I've used when I have needed to revise something. The first one is Perfect English Grammar. On this website you will find lots of explanations and lots of examples and lots of exercises. So you have like a very good like option to practice your grammar in case you think that your grammar is not that good, or your vocabulary, and you need to revise something. This website is a good option. Another one, which is one of my favorites, is englishgrammar.org. Here as well you find a lot of grammar topics, a lot, and you find like a lot of examples and explanations and exercises as well. But something that I like about this website is that you have the opportunity to practice your writing. I've seen that many of my students are really good at reading, they are really good at speaking, they are good at grammar and vocabulary, but guess what? They are not that good at writing. And I'm like, how come? And it's because we are not used to writing, not only in English but also in Spanish. And I've seen it many times that sometimes when my students have to write an essay in Spanish, they don't know how to do it. Now imagine in English, it's like, teacher, I don't know what to do. And this website gives you the opportunity to practice your writing skills. Another one that I love a lot is British Council Grammar and Vocabulary section. Here, something that I like a lot is that all the explanations and all the content regarding grammar and vocabulary is divided into levels. So if you are a beginner or an intermediate or an upper intermediate student, you just select your level and you will get all this information. So you can enter these websites and start practicing for your grammar and vocabulary skills. Okay, and well, the next thing is the listening. How can you improve your listening skills? There are many things that you can do, a lot, and they are easier than you can imagine. One of the first things that I recommend my students to do is that they use music to start like getting some idea of the listening things. Try to identify some vocabulary words if your listening skills are not that good. So you can start by doing that. Like choose a song that you like and try to identify some vocabulary words. And if you can identify one, good. I mean, at least you are doing something, right? Don't expect to identify a lot of words if it's the first time that you are doing it. Little by little, you will start identifying more vocabulary words. But this is a matter of practice, as I always say. Also, you can watch movies, you can watch a lot of TV shows, the news, documentaries, etc., etc. Of course, nowadays that we have YouTube, you can find a lot of things that you like. And I don't know, maybe if you like video games, or if you are interested in cars, cooking, try to watch these channels in English. And something really good about using also like visual materials is that you have more chances to understand what the people are saying and what is happening and everything. Because many teachers believe that by practicing listening, it's just that students have to listen to an audio and that's it. And yeah, I mean, it's good. They are actually practicing listening, but we have to look for some other ways in which we can help us. And yes, practically, if you take advantage of any video, any TV show, any movie to practice your listening skills, you are not only practicing that, you are also practicing your receptive skills. And as I said, you have more opportunities to understand what it is that is happening. And that also happens in real life when you talk to a person, you have the chance to see how the person is acting, to get the person's feelings, to look at the faces, the expressions the person is making. And it's amazing. Listening it has to be practiced like every day. If not, if you don't have the chance to do it like with the person in front of you, then you can do it by listening to music, as I said, using the movies, watching YouTube videos, maybe calling a friend, etc. The thing is that you don't get frustrated if you don't understand every single word. Try to start by understanding the main idea. And that's it. I mean, you are able to understand what other people say. And the reading is also very important. Listening and reading are the receptive skills of a language. It means that you don't produce anything, that you receive information. I mean, you don't make information out of you, but you receive it from different sources. People believe that reading is boring, but it's not. It's very difficult to get students to read and to make them feel motivated about reading. It's super, super difficult. That's why as a teacher you need to choose like the correct materials to help your students be motivated by reading. The more they read, the better students and the better readers, even listeners, writers they are, because you get the information in a visual way. And when my students struggle or when they have a lot of difficulties reading, I always tell them that they can start by reading things they are interested in. Like, I don't want them to read something about, let's say, biology, if they hate biology. I'm not going to ask them to read something about science if they don't like science. You cannot force people to read something that they don't like. So as a teacher, I think it's our responsibility to look for things that might be of our students' interests. And I think that by improving your reading skills, you definitely need to start reading something that you like. Anything. And nowadays, you can find a lot of things on the internet. And you can also find a lot of books, easy books to read, by level. In the key is that you find the correct text for you. On the internet, you can read the news, you can read an article about something, you can read a story. I don't know, you can look for different sources. As I said before, magazines, newspapers. Nowadays, technology helps us a lot. And On the internet, there are online, you can find a lot of websites that give you like these opportunities to practice your reading comprehension abilities. One of my favorite websites is this one, the British Council, and you can find here a lot of exercises for you if you want to practice that. Also, another one is the English ESL reading, which is really good and it will help you a lot. Just practice. Learning a new language can be difficult, and improving in a language can be difficult too. But anybody can do it. Anybody has the abilities to do it. And the only thing that you need to understand and to keep in mind is that it requires work and time. And I don't want to make this video that long, so I will continue with the rest of the tips in another one and another time. And I hope that all these recommendations are useful for you. And if you need any questions, if you need to know anything, or if you have any questions, or if you need help with anything, you can ask me, of course. I am super willing to help you, because when I was learning, there were many people willing to help me, and I also want to do the same. So I'll be seeing you in another video. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.